Well, my friends, thanks for coming to play with the ideas that I present on my channel. The last video that I did was on being. And although beings are continuously cast forth from the perfection of the flows of energy that we relate to as God, I thought I'd actually do something a little closer to home. I'm going to return to being, but I want to talk about the outermost dimension of our experience here in physical. And this outermost dimension has several names because a lot of people have seen it. A lot of people have been there. In fact, you have been there because you could not have come from being into this manifesting level or density without having passed through and stayed at the all species consciousness pool. So we're going to kind of jump to where we are, and then I'm going to go back to being at some point and explain how being consciousness crystallizes and moves toward locations of manifestation in order to express and fulfill the purpose, the being purpose, the God-given purpose. But we're going to talk about the highest dimension that I know of that surrounds Earth. This is surrounded with kind of an eggshell type energy because it takes a force of will for any consciousness to move into this area of manifestation as it does in all the others, I presume. So there is a threshold of choice that is crossed both by waves of new beings coming into the dimensions of Earth and is crossed in either ascension, leaving this particular dimension to express our purpose in some other universal way. And then within this highest level is all species that come into the earth who want to manifest on earth. All their representation, knowledge, form, we'll get into that a little bit later because we'll be talking about humans. But all species that are on the earth have also come through this layer or level or dimension. And again, I can only portray this in 2D. It's 3D. It's completely wrapped around like nesting dolls or a dipped candy, as I described in the last one with layers. So there are many names for this species delineation that pure consciousness takes up and individuates into a species choice. And the species is the choice that they will, or we all will, or we make our choice about how we're going to express our God-given intent here in this density. So it has many names. It really mostly is the consciousness pool for Earth. And it is the small loop. So when we leave our physical body behind, this is the highest point we will go in reincarnation. It's the height of the small loop. And so many people are familiar with this. We've all been through it. We've all been back and forth from this level or layer many, many times. A lot of people see this as a library. In the movie, What Dreams May Come, they did a lot of interpretation of this particular dimension. It's also been called the Akashic Record. And that's because all learning from and all experience from any species on this planet is stored there. So there's a great deal of history here. There is also, in terms of the learning, there are avatars, there are teachers that we go to learn certain things. Now, if you just look at our species, I called this, what I found this, the City of Light, because that's the way I was experiencing it, is it just had what humans do. And what humans do is delineate spaces through architecture, but there were no trees, there were no other animals. It was just what people do. And I was a little disappointed with that because I live to be entwined with the other species. But it's also known as the hub city, because let's just take humans from other, I like the term beyond solar, beyond our system, can actually experience a lot of what it's like to be on Earth by simply learning at this level without actually coming all the way into this density. There are so many experiences of Earth contained within this sphere that, and I don't like the word alien, but other humanoids can come and study Earth at this point. So it is a hub for other humanoids also who are interested in this particular levels of density that they don't have to move into. In fact, so much consciousness experiences what we're experiencing down here, but in levels of more light or less density. So it is like they're living on Earth, but they don't actually have the what we're dealing with here. Let's put it that way. So what I've thought about doing now is I'm going to give an introduction to the dimension or the area that this is all information that I've been given in channeling. I'm going to be reading the original channeling of all this. And it's quite fascinating. As I say, we've all been there. I really believe that The Wizard of Oz was based on this level also. And I got there in meditation before I even knew where I was or what this was. I would find myself in these giant auditoriums just downloading information. I would find myself in small, like cubby holes in a library, listening to a lecture that I then spoke and recorded. I remember one lecture I went to on forgiveness, and the other, I was still attached to a body, but most of the people there were not. And they were like, I was getting like attention from them because they knew I was different. So when we are at this level, we are less identified with the prior life, with even all of our lifetimes. And now we're identified as species, the species consciousness with our God or spirit component. And so it's a very different reality up in this place. So I hope you will listen to the original meditation. And until I see you again, please be well and please be blessed. Thanks for coming.